Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Always Compete Seahawks podcast. I am Sam, that is Mike, and today we have a fun video planned. Once again, we're in the dry spell of the offseason, really not a whole lot of stuff to talk about. So we used the website playoffpredictors.com. If you want to go there, you can use it yourself, to predict the entire NFL season, where you can predict how good teams will be, what the playoffs will look like, what the draft order will look like. We can break all of that down. We're going to break all that down in this episode. We're going to go division by division, seeing what we think. Mike, did this while we were in the call, before we started recording, and he said that I was not going to like his list. So with that being said, Let's just hop on right in, and let's start with the NFC North.
Okay.
We're going to go from bottom to top. And by the way, I did this assuming that Aaron Rodgers and Deshaun Watson were going to play. I know it might not be like that. I did it assuming that they were going to do that.
I did assuming Rodgers would play and assuming Watson would not, because that's what I feel is most likely. He feels like Watson's going to play maybe, but I don't personally think Watson will play, so I acted as if Watson was not going to play.
Well, I don't feel like he's going to play either, and don't worry, it didn't really help their record that much.
I doubt that you had him really going too far.
Give you a brief preview on that. So, Mike, who's your bottom team in the NFC North?
The Detroit Lions, little surprise. They went 5-12.
Well, I had them much worse, like much worse. We're talking 1-16. That was my record.
You disrespect Jared Goof. Are you kidding me?
Goof is,
shaking my head, Sam.
May as well be named Jack, like his brother is, because he's terrible. They have a first-year coach. They lost Kenny Galladay. What do they have to hang their hat on at this point? They don't even have Matt Stafford anymore. They can't even say, hey, we have a almost Pro Bowl quarterback. They can't even say that anymore.
Yeah, they're going to be awful. I don't think they'll be
in full stage rebuild right now.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be awful, but they'll be very bad.
I think I had them as the worst team in the NFL. Just saying.
Wow, I did not.
Well, not by much. Don't worry, not by much. But 1-16.
Who did you have at 3?
At 3, I had the Chicago Bears at 5-11, mainly because I said that I think that they're going to transition from Dalton to Fields midseason.
Sam.
Therefore, that's going to really hurt their record. And that was kind of my prediction.
So I had the Bears at 12-5, so we disagreed a little bit there, obviously.
Are you joking?
No. Keep in mind, I am from Illinois. Maybe there was a little bit of bias.
A little bit? They went 12-5? Mike,
they went, listen.
Mike, just for a preview?
Listen to me. Under Mitchell Trubisky, they went 28-20. 28-20 under Mitchell Trubisky. The new franchise quarterback Justin Fields is in town. They won. They were 8 games above 500 with Mitch. Let me repeat that. Mitchell Trubisky.
They also had the best defense in the NFL.
They still got it. Besides Kyle Fuller, they lost nobody. So, what are we? Jalen Johnson is going to be a stud. I have a lot of faith in the Bears. Maybe I'm biased. We can probably move on. But
I will say that in hindsight, I think they're a little lower than I would expect them to be. I was thinking like 7-10 maybe for them, but I just think that the rookie transition mid-year is going to hurt their record. It's going to help in the long run, but it's going to hurt in the short-term run, in my opinion.
All right, who did you have as your number 2 team in the division?
At number 2, I had Minnesota. They went 7-10. I really don't like Minnesota's defense. I really don't. And
I had him at 3. I had him at 3 going 7-10 also. I don't like their defense, and I don't trust Kirk Cousins in big games.
Kirk Cousins isn't terrible, and they have a pretty good weapons on that offense, but they really don't have much to hang their hat on.
Right.
And for number 1, we of course have the Green Bay Packers. No other answer. I had them going 12-5. That was my prediction. Oh, you had Chicago.
I had Packers going 11-6. Still making the playoffs. But I don't know, man. I think the Green Bay domination over Chicago is over.
No comment. Let's move on to the AFC North. Let's begin.
Oh, we got some big boys over here.
All right, so for the Bengals, I had them going I know a lot of people aren't going to be happy about this. I know a lot of people are like, but they got Jamar Chase, man. They're going to put up a ton of points. I think people forget that they still have the worst offensive line in the NFL, and it's not really that close. They're terrible.
Would you have
And
their record being?
I had them being weirdly, I did a simulation before this where I had them going, I believe, 6-11. In this, I had them going 3-14.
I
Maybe
had
just
2 and
because,
15. I had 2
yeah,
and
I
15.
did not like their matchups. Joe Burrow, because he only played half a year, his development is going to be terribly stunted by that.
Mm-hmm.
And this year is essentially, I mean, the next half, the first half of this year is a ending of his rookie season. So,
Right.
you know,
And let's not forget his knee is still really messed up. He might not
and
have good.
the aforementioned O-line is just
Correct. And let's not forget the
garbage.
defense is not very good either.
Yeah.
And I don't trust their coach either. Zach Taylor should not be an NFL coach.
Their headline defensive signing this offseason was Chidobe Awuzie, who was on one of the worst pass defenses in the NFL last year. So
Bengals suck. We can both agree on that. Let's go.
All right, number 8. Well, I had them as the 8th seed, but as my 3rd seed in the AFC North, I had the Steelers. I had them going 8-9.
I had 4 and 13 for the Steelers.
Whoa, Mike! I think their defense is good enough to carry them to those wins. I think it's gonna be like a Bears situation. I just think it's gonna be like a Bears last year situation.
I don't know, bro.
Where their defense, if they put up 20, they're gonna win half of their games just because.
I do okay. Maybe I was a little too mean because I do.
4-13 is pretty rough coming off a 12. I mean, I don't think they're gonna be good. I don't have them as a playoff team.
6-11.
I don't have them as a playoff team.
I'll go 6-11 because I think the defense is, like you said, this is actually very similar to like what the Washington football team was last year. Really great defense, very subpar offense.
Yeah. Or as I said, the Bears last year, good defense. I mean, good defense, and then just like offense.
Don't compare Ben Roethlisberger to the MVP Mitchell Trubisky. I don't want to ever hear that ever again. But okay, I'll revise it. I'll go 6-11 for the Steelers, but I still won't have them making the playoffs nor being very good.
All right, so my 2 top teams here, I have the Ravens going 13-4.
I have them going 14-3. Yeah,
I like the Ravens this year. I think Lamar's going to continue to develop. I think he's going to kind of hit his peak this year, and he's going to kind of plateau for like 5, 6, 7 years, and then just like any other quarterback would.
I think giving Lamar legit wide receivers is huge for the Ravens.
Yeah, Rashad Bateman is awesome.
They have not had legit wide receivers, so giving them a legit wide receivers, I think is going to be just phenomenal. And obviously Lamar is spectacular. J.K. Dobbins is very underrated. I have the Ravens as my number 2 seed in the AFC, going 14-3.
Okay, so ours was a little different. I had the Ravens going 13-4. I have the Browns going 14-3.
I have the Browns going 14-3 also.
I think the Browns are kind of going in. And by the way, I have them as the 1 seed in the AFC. I think that the Browns. Bro, if you look at this roster, it is loaded. Like we say that every year. It got more loaded. They got John Johnson, Troy Hill, Jadeveon Clowney, who I know that's like Jadeveon Clowney, but think about it. Jadeveon Clowney has had his best years when he's playing across from an elite pass rusher, and he's got Myles Garrett there. So I think he's going to kind of have a renaissance in a way.
The Browns went 11-5, 12-4-ish last year.
Last year, I think they went 11-5.
Okay, that was with a really awful defense. What do? They drafted Greg Newsome, awesome corner out of Northwestern. They got Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. How do you say his name?
Koramoah.
Yeah, they got him from Notre Dame. Great linebacker. Linebacker was their big weakness last year. They signed Troy Hill and the other safety from the Rams,
John Johnson, who's a stud, by the way. I don't know if y'all know that he's a stud.
And they signed, thanks for getting him out of LA, Cleveland. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And they signed, like you said, Jadeveon Clowney. I mean, they've made great improvements on this defense. They're going to chew, they're going to chew 40 minutes of clock with that running game. They got Odell coming back. Baker's another year of development. So I really like the Browns this year. I also have them going 14-3, but I have them being the 5 seed because head-to-head, the Ravens won. So the Browns are the 5 seed, the Ravens are the 2 seed, but they're both 14-3 in my opinion.
Understandable. So we'll move on to the NFC South. Beginning at the bottom, who do you have at the bottom?
So just to kind of give a little sneak peek, I had obviously you can probably guess what team I had at number one, and the three bottom tier teams all had around the same record. So, I'm really not too particular about any of these three teams. I think it's the Buccaneers and then the other three teams really for this division. So I had the Panthers, the Saints, and the Falcons all going 6-11. I think they're going to be mediocre to bad. You can maybe give another win or two or take another win or two from these three teams, but I really don't think all of these teams have big weaknesses, in my opinion. The Panthers would be the team that if one of these teams were to make the playoffs, I would take the Panthers, but I am just not a Sam Darnold guy. I really don't understand the hype around him.
Yeah.
So I have three teams going 6-11 in this division.
Okay, so Mike, that's interesting because I actually had Panthers and Falcons both going 6-11.
Okay.
I had the Saints as the sixth seed in the NFC at
Wow.
11-6. I think that the Saints, despite losing their quarterback, despite the fact they had no money, and I mean like negative $100 million,
Right.
they maintained everybody there. And it's essentially the same team, and it's a great core of players. They still have a very solid defense, still have a very reliable offensive line, and they still have Michael Thomas, who's going to be returning off of injury, and Alvin Kamara. I still like that team. I don't think they're going to be god awful.
Here's
I
part of the
had them
reason.
going 11-6.
Here's part of the reason why I took the Saints to be 6-11. Again, assuming Jameis Winston is the starter, which I would assume he would be. Granted,
I mean, I think Jameis Winston, with a good core and a good coach around him,
yeah,
I think he's good enough to be like a 25-ish touchdown quarterback.
Here's my thing with the Saints. Let's think about the 2019 Buccaneers. They went 7-9. Jameis threw 30 picks, 30 touchdowns, right? Jameis leaves. Tom Brady comes in. The Buccaneers win the Super Bowl. So obviously, to me, it wasn't the team because they didn't improve other than obviously Tom Brady. They didn't improve so drastically from Jameis's last year to this year, past year, obviously, when they won the Super Bowl. So I think Jameis offers your team negative value. I think the defense is going to get worse as a result of all of his turnovers. I think to be fair, though, he does have a dynamic weapon with Alvin Kamara, but I really do not like Jameis Winston as the starting quarterback. And Taysom Hill, is a gadget guy. I don't trust him getting full-time reps either. Maybe Jameis surprised me, but from what I've seen, I think the Saints will be 6-11, and they'll be looking for a quarterback after this offseason.
Yeah, I mean, once again, I agree and disagree. It wasn't the team in Tampa Bay, but I also think a couple other factors were kind of hurting Jameis Winston there. They forced him to throw the ball like 50 times a game. I think he had the most passing yards of any quarterback in the NFL that year. I think he threw like 5,000 yards. So that enough shows that they leaned on him way too much, especially for a first-year system with Bruce Arians. This is his second year sitting on the bench behind Drew Brees in New Orleans. He knows the Sean Payton system, and he doesn't have to be the guy because they have Alvin Kamara in the backfield. I'm sure this is going to be a run-first offense, and Jameis can throw when he needs to. So I just don't think that Jameis is going to be god-awful. I think he's going to be better than he was in Tampa Bay. That's just kind of my opinion. But, like, speaking of Tampa Bay, what is your record for them?
14-3. I think they're going to be
I had 15-2 and the best team.
They're going to be really good. They're going to be really, really good.
Tampa
Brady has
last year. Yeah. Watching them in the playoffs, watching that whole thing finally come together and play like a whole team. Yeah. It was like, man, how is anybody going to beat this team?
If you remember the regular season matchup against the Chiefs where Tyreek Hill smoked them, had like almost 300 yards. That was the last game. That was the last game they lost. After that game, they looked unbeatable. They really looked, obviously they went unbeatable. They went unbeaten, but the offense was clicking. They seemed to figure out, what works and what didn't work. They relied on more motions and more play actions. Leonard Fournette got more touches. Gronk got involved. The defense was just everywhere. The pass rush was just phenomenal. So I think new quarterback, fairly new coach, some new additions. COVID offseason, it kind of took them a while to get things going last year. But when they got it going, and they were really, really freaking good. And I think that a lot of that stuff won't happen this year, and they'll just be right back off to where they left. So the Buccaneers are definitely going to be one of the best teams this year, in my opinion.
Yeah, I had 15-2. I had them being the best team in the NFL. As I said, kind of how it goes there. Let's move to the AFC South. At the bottom, I had Houston going 4-13. I just don't think that Houston's that good.
Mhm.
I really don't have that much faith in them, even with Deshaun Watson. Even if they have Deshaun Watson, I think they're going to be god awful.
Well, they went 4-12 with them last year, so
Yeah, with a first year coach that like hasn't coached ever, not in high school, not in
right.
college,
Mm.
not in the NFL. He has not been a head coach ever.
Yeah, and he was the Ravens wide receiver coach, and the Ravens wide receivers last year were awful.
Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know. It's a very questionable hire. I have 4-13 for them.
I also have 4-13. Surprisingly, though, I do not have them as the last place team in the division. I have the Jacksonville Jaguars at 3-13. Now, I love Trevor Lawrence, and I've always loved Trevor Lawrence, but you gotta understand the Jaguars are not a good team right now. I don't really love Urban Meyer as a head coach. I think he's past his prime a little bit. I think the Jaguars are going to be awful this year, and they're building for the future. You know, if you remember Peyton Manning, pretty sure Peyton Manning in his rookie year went 3-13, and then went just absolutely batshit crazy the rest of his career. Obviously, I think the Jaguars suck this year, and then they kind of improve over time. So I had them going 3-13, being the worst, or 3-14, excuse me, and then Houston being 4-13, just a little bit above them.
Yeah, I had them being bad as well. I had them going 6-11. I think they made some meaningful offseason moves to kind of boost them up. Shaquille Griffin went there. They got
Yeah,
Marvin Jones.
they just signed the half the Seahawks roster. That's why they're better.
Yeah, Philip Dorsett, Carlos Hyde. They got all those guys. And I
Brian
think that's just. I think that's
Brian
enough.
Schottenheimer, yeah.
I think that's enough to just bump them up to be decent and
Mhm.
not even decent, like bad, but
Yeah,
not terrible,
right.
like I have the Texans. So
Like borderline top 10 pick.
yeah,
I would say.
I think like Trevor Lawrence is gonna have not a Joe Burrow, a Justin Herbert type season. Just kind of throws like high 20s, maybe low 30s for touchdowns. And yeah, that's kind of what I have there. So what do you have? Okay, so yeah, we know our bottom two.
Mhm.
At my second seed, I have the Titans just squeaking into the playoffs at 9-8. I
Wow.
hate their defense. Their defense is so bad. It's bad. Like looking on paper, it is a legitimately like you look at this defense, you're like, what? They cut Adoree Jackson for no logical
Yeah, that
reason.
was kind of dumb, I'll be honest.
Their number one corner, who has played decent in the past, they're just like,
Mhm.
yeah, we're just gonna cut you, even though you're making like $3 million. We need money. We're gonna cut you. We're not gonna sign anybody. They signed Bud Dupree
Yeah,
to
that's a
a
good high.
wildly overpaid deal. I would say I like Bud
They were
Dupree as a
desperate for
player.
pass rush, though. They
As a
were
player,
desperate, to be fair.
they signed like an 85 million over 5 years. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And after that, I don't remember. I mean, of course, they got Julio, and I think that's what's going to carry them to the playoffs. I think they have like a top 10, top 5 offense in the NFL.
Right. Right.
But 9-8 as the 7th seed in the AFC, in my opinion.
So in my second seed in the AFC South, I had the Colts going 7-10. A lot of people are really high on the
Oh,
Colts. I
I'm
don't
one
really
of
see
them,
it.
by the way.
I don't
I'm
really
one
see
of
it.
the
I
high on
don't
the
think
Colts.
Carson Wentz is a good quarterback. I'm just not high on Carson Wentz at all. I really don't think that they have good guys on defense. Darius Leonard is obviously really good. DeForest Buckner is one of the game's best defensive tackles. So they got a good defense. I think this is a similar situation with the Steelers where the defense is kind of mulling around the offense. The offense sputters, but I will say I do really like Jonathan Taylor. So I think the Colts go 7-10 just because I just don't have a lot of faith in Carson Wentz, and they're not a talented enough team offensively to make up for Carson Wentz, in my opinion.
Um, yeah, I don't see that. I have the Colts going 12-5 as the 3rd seed in the
Interesting.
AFC. I love their defense. They're very underrated, kind of across the board. They have a good linebacking core. They have good corners. They have a good secondary. They have a good defensive line. And I feel like their offense is the best offense Carson Wentz has ever played with. They have
Hmm.
a top 5 offensive line in the NFL. They have viable weapons at the tight end position, Jack Doyle, Molly Cox. They have Michael Pittman, who's going to get better. Jonathan Taylor is going to get better. Carson
Yeah,
Wentz was the most sacked quarterback last year. He started 12 games. He,
those are
he was
Russell
the
Wilson numbers right there, man.
he was the most sacked quarterback in 4 less games than everybody else.
That's Russell Wilson
So
numbers right there.
yeah, that's like Russell Wilson 2015 post Max
2017.
Unger years right there.
Yeah.
I
Post
mean,
Unger and Okun, yeah.
yeah,
Jeez
that's
Louise.
kind of what I'm
So
seeing. Carson Wentz is going to feel like a king behind that offensive line.
right. So
I
no
think
surprise. I had the Titans being the first seed. I think they're by far the best team in this division. I have them going 11-6. Not amazing, but being the fourth seed in the AFC. Um, Part of the reason why I think they're going to be 11-6 is because I don't think their division is very good. Listen, they get to play. They get to play the Jaguars twice, the Texans twice, and the Colts twice, right? I mean, that is, that's 6 games for Derrick Henry. That's 1,200 rushing yards right there. That's 200 a pop. I'm just kidding. It's at least 200 a pop against the Jaguars and Texans. But listen, Ryan Tannehill is a very underrated quarterback. Julio Jones, AJ Brown, Derrick Henry. I mean, if you were going for most intimidating offense, they win it by far. DK Metcalf would be close, obviously, with the picture of his shirt off, who was actually with AJ Brown to prove my first point. I think their offense is going to be insane. And they're going to be a team, like the Falcons have been this last decade, where their defense is definitely spotty, but they're able to score enough points to keep most games competitive. But I think come playoff time, obviously, that defense is going to rear its ugly head. But I have them going 11-6 and being the fourth seed in the AFC.
Fair. I can respect it. I can see why you think that division's terrible. I have the Colts going like 5-1 in the division, and the one loss I had to them was from the Titans. So, nothing crazy. Let's go to the NFC East. One of the more competitive divisions in the NFL, I'd say. There's no definitive.
Competitive is a loose term. I'd say.
Well. Don't get me wrong. I didn't say good. I said competitive.
Yeah.
I didn't say good. I said competitive. So
fair.
At the last seed, no surprise in my opinion. I had the Eagles going 5-12. Jalen Hurts in his sophomore year. This is about developing him. Devontae Smith is going to be a rookie. I think he's going to be good, just not immediately.
Yeah, he's not big enough of an impact to make him good.
They're really coming to that point when a team that was good is starting to obviously become a shell of itself. Fletcher Cox is going to retire soon. Brandon Graham.
Jason Kelsey's out soon.
Jason Kelsey's out soon. Lane Johnson's out soon. They lost Jason Peters.
Right.
Zach Ertz is going to leave soon.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they lost their coach. And
Malcolm Duncan's left already. Like all of those core guys from the Super Bowl run. Yeah.
I mean, you really have Darius Slay, who's on a huge contract and did not perform last year. So
yeah, he was fathered by DK Metcalf in that primetime game.
Yeah.
I think anybody can forget that.
Everybody knows that. So that's what I had at my last seed.
Yeah, I totally agree. Eagles 5-12, maybe 4-13. I like Jalen Hurts a little bit, but not that much. They're just bad. They're just a bad team.
Yeah. At my second to last team, I had the Giants. Hear me out. I like the core that's there, but I don't see anything with Daniel Jones. I've never seen anything with Daniel Jones. He doesn't show out. I compare I think the Giants are like the Broncos of the NFC. They have a good team there, a good core of players, but their quarterbacks are just so
right.
At least Drew Lock has serious potential and could be a star under the right situation.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones, when they drafted him, I thought he was just an average at best quarterback. He doesn't have anything that shines.
I don't understand the hype around Daniel Jones. Baker Mayfield said something when he was drafted, Daniel Jones was the 6th overall pick. Baker Mayfield said something about when you're tall, you get drafted higher, something like that. Because 6'5". So I think people are drawn to that. I don't see Daniel Jones. I don't see it. He's athletic, but not that much.
Average across the board. He's average athleticism, average accuracy, average arm strength.
But his decision making and the turnovers are way below average.
Did he have the most fumbles of any quarterback last year?
I'm pretty sure he had 28.
That's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. I really think that I just do not think that he's a good quarterback. But I do think the Giants have a pretty good team around him that'll give him some wins. But
I had them going 6-11, and I think maybe 7-10 is also a fair prediction there. I just don't see much there.
Yeah. What about number 2 team? Because I think for the most part, people understand that it's a race between the Washington football team and the Cowboys. So who did you have winning this division?
So I'm just going to skip to the winning team. I had the Washington football team at 10-7. I really liked their offseason. They brought in William Jackson. They brought in
Fitzmagic, baby.
They brought in Curtis Samuel.
Mm-hmm.
Fitzmagic, who's last year he showed signs of being like a
Right.
borderline, not even borderline, like a solid quarterback who can play average, which is kind of all I feel like Washington needs right now
Right.
to win. I really like the core. I love their defense. Their defense is so young, and they're just gonna. It's gonna be really fun to see how they all improve together at the same time. They're all gonna be getting better at the same time and going up. I had Washington going 10-7. Good, not great. Good. I had them winning the division, and I had Dallas going 8-9.
I have the Cowboys winning the division at 9-8. Now,
Understandable.
I think the reason that the Cowboys are going to be 9-8 and the 4 seed, obviously barely squeaking in the playoffs, because I really think that they missed Dak Prescott last year. Because when Dak wasn't in, they'd give the ball to Zeke more, and then Zeke had trouble with fumbling, and the offensive line was, all of that stuff. They're getting healthier. They've got dudes. They drafted a linebacker to hopefully shore up that defense a little bit. Dak Prescott, I do think, is a good quarterback. They have Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, Zeke, who I don't think is great, but he's a solid running back. He can, bear the load a little bit. I think obviously their defense is terrible, but I think 9-8 is fair for the Cowboys, a team where their offense really carries them to relevancy.
Yeah, I think Dallas
And
is
plus
gonna
their
be like.
division isn't good, so
I think Dallas is gonna be kind of like the Titans, where
yeah,
we have a top 10 offense. Look at
Yeah.
us, we're putting up 30 points a game. Well, your defense just gave up 35 a game. Your
Mhm.
defense was terrible last year, and it got worse.
yeah,
Like I said, they lost their number one quarterback in Chidobe Awuzie.
yeah.
I mean,
That's
I
what
don't
I'm
really know
saying.
what
The,
else to
the
say.
domino of Dak Prescott getting injured and made Zeke worse, and made their offensive line worse, and made their defense worse. I'm
And
not saying
Tyron Smith is coming off a critical injury. I'm sorry to
Right.
interrupt, but
Right. No, you're absolutely correct. So I think that having Dak back just tips those dominoes back, makes them just that much better in each aspect. 9-8, and then I have the Washington football team going 8-9. Very close, but
yeah.
just barely.
Yeah, that's fair. Let's go to the AFC East. The top here might be a little controversial, not for who
Mhm.
wins it, but for the record. That's what I'm gonna say.
Damn.
Not for who wins it, but for the record. At the bottom, Jets
Yeah.
4-13. Zach Wilson,
Totally
new
agree.
head coach. I love the hire of Robert Saleh, but coaches
Wilson
need
is
time.
a
They need
bust.
to marinate. And Zach Wilson is a small school quarterback who's going to need to develop, going to need time.
Yeah.
I know New York is going to write him off after a season, but he's going to need time.
Yeah.
So I had 4-13.
And plus, dude, you took the pick that you got from Jamal Adams and used it on an offensive guard. I don't know what to tell you. 3-13,
Mhm.
or 3-4. I'm sorry, 4-13. I keep getting confused with this 17-game season. 4-13 Jets, bottom seed in the AFC East, and we both agree on that. Number 3 seed, who do you have?
3 seed, I had New England. 7-10. I know everybody says, look at their offseason. They went out and spent 64 on Matt Judon and like 64 on Johnny Smith and like 36 or whatever on Hunter Henry. And oh my God, they're spending so much money. Isn't this great?
No.
Spending money doesn't equate to automatically winning. Matt Judon, horrible overpay. Johnny Smith, overpay. Hunter Henry, overpay. Aguilar, overpay.
Kendrick
overpaid.
Bourne even was an overpay.
Yeah, I like Kendrick Bourne as a player. Don't get me wrong. Overpay. Like I think that they overpaid for all these players, and to top it all off, their quarterback situation es no bueno.
Es no bueno.
Cam Newton has looked like garbage from training camp. Like he can't throw anymore. I don't know what it is. He can't throw.
Mac Jones is intimidating him. That's my theory.
I genuinely don't know what it is. It's either Cam Newton throws it 10 yards short or throws it 10 yards too far. I don't know
It's
where
sad.
it is.
It's sad to see him go out like this, but
yeah,
I expect him.
It's almost like a Peyton Manning thing.
Yeah, I expect him to. Well, but Peyton Manning though was carried by a great team, and Peyton Manning could still kind of throw. And obviously he rode off in the sunset. But yeah, he definitely.
At least Peyton Manning could throw the ball with accuracy. He had no strength, but he could throw the ball with accuracy.
True. True.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have the Patriots going 8-9. Same thing. So this is where I'm gonna have to ask for your forgiveness. They say it's better to ask forgiveness than to ask permission. Who do you have as the number 2 seed in the division, Sam?
Number 2 seed, I had the Dolphins. going 8-9. Looking back on it, I think I could have put them at 9-8. I think the Dolphins are a decent team. Tua, I think, is not ready yet. He's not ready yet. He's gonna be there next year. I think he's gonna be one of these guys. He might be like a Josh Allen kind of type, where first season, second season, okay, he's improving. Third season, okay, now he's like legitimately talented and good. So that's kind of what I have with Tua. I think that they made some good offseason acquisitions, but not a guarantee that Xavier Howard will even be there. So their offensive line is average at best. Decent weapons, decent defensive line.
I'd say good weapons personally, but
yeah, I mean, I like Gesicki. I like Devontae Parker. I like Will Fuller. But
Jalen Waddle, don't forget Jalen Waddle, bro.
Oh, I forgot about Jalen Waddle. Yeah, Jalen Waddle's good. Okay, yeah, they have good weapons. But I mean, still, doesn't really change much when I don't think Tua is going to be ready yet.
I have the Bills as the second team in the division, going 13-4.
Whoa! Wait! Hey!
Hey! Oh, give me
Are you therefore implying that the Miami Dolphins will be better than 13-4?
No, they're gonna be 13-4, but they'll beat the Bills in the head-to-head matchup, and they will be better in the division. Yes, I am saying that. Hear me out.
Mike, the Bears, excusable.
Hear me out. Sam, hear me out. So, with the Dolphins, I love their coach, Brian Flores. I think that he is one of the most underrated coaches in the league.
I love Brian Flores, too.
Right.
I love him.
Right.
I love him.
They have a really good defense. They have a really good special teams. Tua Tagovailoa is, to me, such a special quarterback, and people just shit on him after his rookie year. They just shit on him. And I have been, Sam, I have been the most loyal Tua supporter out of anybody, even Dolphins fans, right? I'm a bigger Tua supporter than 99% of Dolphins fans. I think you get Tua, stud. You have Devontae Parker, who was a good wide receiver. You have Will Fuller. The problem with the Dolphins, the problem with Tua and the Dolphins last year was that they couldn't throw the ball deep. Tua wasn't allowed to really because he was a rookie. The Dolphins just didn't want to air it out. They have guys to air it out. When you look at what he did at Alabama, Tua Tagovailoa was a phenomenal deep ball thrower. He's got his college teammate, who he doesn't need to build chemistry with because he obviously already has in Jalen Waddle. And he's got one of the best deep threat wide receivers in the league, Will Fuller. I think their offense is going to be really, really good, paired with that great defense and a good head coach. I think they're going to go 13-4, and I think they're going to be the best team in the AFC East, personally speaking.
Oh, okay. I mean, I can agree with everything you said besides Tua just going off this year. I feel like Tua's going to need another
He's going to be an
year.
MVP candidate. I feel like he's going to be an MVP candidate.
You're being dead serious right now?
I am being dead serious, Sam. I think Tua Tagovailoa, well, I don't think he'll win, but I think he'll be in contention for the league's most valuable player.
I think Tua's good. I think he's going to be better this year. I think they rushed it with him last year.
No, the other stupid thing they did, which was dumb, is when Tua would start a game and they would lose it, they would give it to Patrick. They would give it to Ryan Fitzpatrick. That was so dumb.
But Fitz would clutch it up a couple times.
Right, but that killed Tua.
But once again, that backs up my point where they rushed it. I feel like Fitzpatrick was playing perfectly good football, and he was kind of.
They should have let him sit for a whole year. Yeah,
that team around him. I mean, we've seen what happened when players sit for whole years. I mean, Mahomes sat for his damn near his entire rookie year, and he started week 17 in garbage time because they secured the division. So, I mean, like
that's what they should have done with Tua. Absolutely.
Yeah, they should have let him sit, and I feel like he would have been way more ready. And instead, they throw him in, but then when he starts to play bad, they're like, no, come back.
Yeah, you can't do that.
If you're gonna let him off the leash, you gotta let him off the leash.
You can't dip your feet in the pool. It's either you jump in or you stay out and you tan. You don't dip your feet in. Oh, no, I don't know. They should have played Fitz the whole year, and barring an injury, just played Tua either in garbage time or in like week 17. There was this weird relief pitcher thing they did last year. It was really dumb.
You know how some people have fish that outgrow their fish tank and then they have to let them go in like a pond or something.
Yeah,
that's what they did that with Tua. They're like, okay, it's time, you got to go. But then as soon as they put him in the pond, they jumped back in and swam to grab him.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what they did.
Yeah.
Like they really mishandled that, and I hope that he can rebound because
Yeah.
like that could really mess him up like long term. It depends on how he's going to deal with it. I think he's going to be fine, but there is a risk there of him asking the question like, "Am I good enough? Am I the guy? Does my team trust me?" That's
Yeah.
really what's
Just
going
more
to be in his
to
head.
I trust you, I believe in you, and I think that you're going to be an MVP candidate. So we ready
Okay,
to move on
and
to
by the
the
way, I have Bills going 12-5, winning the division. I've seen a lot of people say they're going to go like 16-1, 15-2.
they don't have a running game. They don't have a running
I
game.
mean, their team is good, but
Their
like Josh
defense is
Allen,
not
Tre'Davious White, Steph. I mean, their defense is fine.
it's
It's a
fine, not
fine
like
defense.
great though. They don't have a running game.
It's like a middle of the road, maybe high,
It's top 12.
maybe like low teens defense, like around there, like 13, 12, 11,
Yeah.
10 maybe,
Yeah.
but I don't see much. Their offense is good, but like you said, no running game, 12-5, that's what I have.
Yeah. What about the
So
West? This is the big boys right here.
these are the ones with the cojones, and at the bottom I have the Cardinals
Yes.
going 8-8, which is I must have missed a game because it says they're 8-8. So give me a second, and I'm gonna go try to correct that. But
I have the Cardinals going 7-10. Don't like Cliff Kingsbury at all.
I don't like Cliff Kingsbury, and hate I hate their defense. Their defense. Everybody's
Defense
gonna
is
talk
not
about the O line. I mean the D line. Like oh my God, they got J.J. Watt and Taylor Jones. Sure, that's
J.J.
cool.
Watt is not
But
J.J. Watt of
what
20.
is gonna freaking happen when Kyler Murray is when their defense gets burned over top by DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett
The
and
only guy
Cooper Cup and all them,
The only
what
guy
are
I
they gonna
really
do?
like on that defense, outside of Chandler Jones, is Buda Baker. I think he's a really good safety, obviously, but they got no corners. They don't have good defensive tackles. I don't know what they're doing with linebacker with Isaiah Simmons and Zaven Collins. No idea. And they're a good team. They're probably a playoff team and a lot. They probably win the NFC East. To be fair, they're in the big dog division, and
Yeah,
there's just no competing with the other three teams.
yeah.
Assuming again that the other three teams stay healthy. There's
So
just
I found the game that I missed for them. I think they're going 9-8 now. Once
okay.
again, not bad. They would be good enough to make the playoffs in a non-NFC West,
Right.
but they are in the NFC West, so you can't really do much there, can you?
The West is
Uh,
for the best, baby.
yeah. 7 seed, people are gonna get pissed because they're healthy now. They were in the Super Bowl the year before. What are you talking about? The 49ers are gonna go 11-6, and they will be
Whoa.
the 7th
Whoa.
seed in the NFC. The
Whoa.
main reason I'm gonna state it right now. Just simple 2 words for you. Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't think Trey Lance plays this year.
I don't think he should, and I don't
I
think he
think
will.
I think he harms their playoff chances by playing him this year.
I think that he will play only because Jimmy Garoppolo gets hurt, but again, assuming no injuries happen, I don't think he will play.
He shouldn't play because North Dakota State, very small school. You do not want to throw him in the best division in football and be like, all right, Trey, take us to the playoffs versus the Rams defense and the Seahawks and even the Cardinals who are good. You
Yeah.
can't say that. And
No.
I think 11-6 is a fair record for them. I feel like they're not as good as they were when they made the Super Bowl.
No. I think
Um,
10-7. 10-7, I think, is fair.
okay, yeah, both fair records, both totally fair records. I just I don't love their secondary. I think their secondary is good. I don't love it. I think
Mhm.
Seahawks are definitely better in the back end with safeties, and our corners. I mean, Barrett's better than our entire secondary, but after that, they don't really have a ton
Hey, bro,
of
we got the
guys.
best corner of the game. Kilo Witherspoon. Are you kidding
Oh
me?
yeah, Mr. Best Corner in the game went out.
Yeah.
So for the second seed, I do have the Seahawks going 12-5, being the 5th seed in the NFC. So they were the best team that couldn't win the division.
Yeah.
I think the Seahawks are good. I think the Seahawks are legitimately good. They got better than last year when they won the division. Sure, so did the Cardinals and the Rams. They did get better, but I mean the Seahawks were. They got better by a noticeable margin on the scale. It's not like, oh yeah, they it's like, oh, they got this much better. They got a solid amount of additions to the team that I'm very confident in. New offensive coordinator, love it. 12-5.
Yeah, 12-5, totally agree. Had them also at number 2, and I'm gonna breeze past this because I don't like saying it out loud. But Rams number 1 seed, 15-2, yada yada yada.
I've been going 13-4.
Yeah, okay, better.
I
think they win the division.
I think that Seattle and the Rams both go 4-2 in the division.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's kind of what I had there. So finally, last division, we're going to the AFC West. My bad. Bottom team, I have the second worst team in the NFL, and in my projection, the Oakland Raiders, or the Las Vegas Raiders, I guess now, going 2-15. I do not like them. They blew up their entire offensive line that was like elite.
Yeah,
Russ and they're just like,
Russ said, "Hey, let me get a ride to Las Vegas," and they said, "Nah."
Yeah, we don't want you. Just to make sure that we don't get you. They traded Trent Brown. They traded Gabe Jackson. They traded Rodney Hudson. They cut Richie Incognito. I think they did re-sign him, but they cut him. So like, they really tried to blow it up.
For what reason? I want to know. Like, for what reason were they just like, "Oh, line, we don't need that shit."
You know, there's reason to like blow up like your linebacking core or something.
Right.
But like if you, or like your DBs or even your corners, because there's a wide abundance of them that you can replace them. When you have an elite offensive line, you're like one of 4 teams that has an elite offensive line in the NFL. So when you're just like, get out of here.
Nah.
I don't know if they're signaling like full rebuild, here we come. But like,
the Mike Wazowski meme where he's sitting there, he's like, that's Derek Carr watching the Raiders offseason movie.
Yeah, watching the Raiders just shred the offensive line.
Thanks for giving me a great offensive line. What'd you say?
Yeah. Derek, don't worry. We overdrafted Alex Leatherwood by like a whole round. Don't worry. It's okay.
But I did like Trayvon Moore. I did think he was a steal. If they would have, I think
Moehrig was a good pick.
I think honestly, which is so funny. I think if they would have flipped, if they would have drafted Moehrig in the first round and Leatherwood in the second round, I think it would have been really, really good. But they didn't reverse order, which I guess works.
Which raises the grade on the Moehrig pick, but drastically decreases the grade on the Leatherwood pick.
It's just a weird thing. I mean, maybe. So again, I actually don't hate that they did it, but they did it in reverse order, which is weird to me. But whatever. Raiders 3-12 in the same
Raiders
boat.
Are
They're
suck.
Rebuilding. Their defense is terrible. I don't like John Gruden. Derek Carr is fine. He's got nobody to throw to, and he's got no one to protect him. The Raiders are gonna suck.
Second to last team. I said that the Giants were the Broncos of the NFC. Well, I have the Broncos as the 3rd seed, going 8-9. Once again, I think that I think they have a good defense. I think that they have a good running back core. I think they have good weapons, and I think their O-line is decent.
Mm-hmm.
And
Drew Lock is the big wild card here.
The difference between Drew Lock and Daniel Jones will be all the time. Mm-hmm. Drew Lock will have a game where he'll throw like 350 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, and then the next week have 100 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 picks. Like
he's got that Josh Allen feel to him, where it's like he can make the most spectacular throw on the field, but sometimes he just throws the most head-scratching interceptions. If you can coach, this is the problem here that I'm going to get into. If you can coach out those stupid decisions and just focus on making good decisions and being accurate and allowing yourself to have good throws, I think Jerry Jeudy is a good receiver, but he obviously struggled last year, had a lot of drops. I think he's got to get acclimated. I'm not going to judge rookies last year too hard because it was a weird COVID season. Cortland Sutton's back. I think Noah Fant's a really good tight end. I think that their running back is pretty good, Melvin Gordon. So I think they got dudes in their defense. I mean,
their defense is nasty. I think they got what's his name, Darby, and they got Kyle Fuller.
Kyle Fuller, excuse me. I said Kendall. That's his brother. And I should know I'm a Bears fan. Jordan Simmons is one of the league's best safeties. So I just think the Broncos are going to be good. But again, Drew Lock is that wild card. I don't like Vic Fangio as a head coach. I think he's a phenomenal defensive coordinator. I don't like him as a head coach so much.
Some guys need that like leadership quality. Yeah. And when you watch him, he looks like he's like, come on, guys. Let's go win that game. Let's go win that game.
He was the Bears defensive coordinator a couple years ago, so obviously I know him pretty well. 2018, the Bears had the best defense in the league, and he was a big reason for that. So that's why I'm saying I think the Broncos' defense is going to be fantastic, but I just don't see I don't see who is going to allow Drew Lock to get to that next level. And for that reason, I think they're going to be middle of the pack, 9-8, in my opinion.
Yep, that's exactly the record that I had. Let's move on. Second seed in the division, I have the Chargers making the playoffs, going
Yes.
11-6.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
Yeah, I love the Corey Linsley pickup. It's ideal to get a good center that your quarterback can bond with, especially when he's a young quarterback. Corey Linsley's like a top 3 center in the NFL.
Yeah.
You love it for him.
Yep.
I like what they did in the draft. I love what they did in the draft. Actually getting, oh my God, I can't think of his name now.
Jenkins.
Oh my God.
Wait.
No.
Rashawn Slater. Oh my God, I don't know why.
Rashawn Slater. Thank you. I love Rashawn Slater. The pick.
Oh, and they got
Asante Samuel Jr.
Asante Samuel Jr. Yeah, that was
which was
really
a
good.
steal in my
really
opinion.
Good. Really, really good.
Derwin James is coming back. Huge.
Joey Bosa is a stud. I think
Yeah.
Kenneth Murray is going to be really good also in year 2.
He's going to continue to develop, and I think Justin Herbert is going to continue to develop. I like Eckler. I think their O-line is fine. It's fine. It's
well, they're going to be better because they picked up, like you said, Corey Linsley.
They're going to be better, but they went from god awful to fine, which is a huge improvement.
Right.
And
I think
you love the weapons. They lost Hunter Henry, but Hunter Henry, in my opinion, is wildly overrated.
I don't think he's that good.
I've never seen.
Can't say healthy.
Yeah, I've never seen anything that's
like, I think
Hunter Henry's that guy.
I think you hit the nail right on the head with the Chargers. You got new weapons, you got Derwin James, you got, new good additions in the draft, Corey Linsley. I'm going to tell you the number one reason why I think the Chargers will make the playoffs this year, and the reason that they haven't made playoffs in the past. Brandon Staley coming in as their head coach.
I
really, really like Brandon Staley. He was also on the Bears coaching staff in 2018 when their defense was amazing. He was the Rams defensive coordinator last year, and the Rams were amazing. Obviously, we know that because they kind of spanked us 3 times. The Rams defense was everywhere he goes, the defense is just phenomenal. And I think with Justin Herbert having, Keenan Allen and Austin Eckler and having that improved line, I think the offense is going to be really good. I think the defense is going to take massive improvements. Hopefully, for the sake of football, Derwin James can stay healthy and play 17 games this year. I love watching that guy play. Yeah. I think Asante Samuel Jr. is going to be really, really good. I think they've got a lot of really good pieces here. And I know the Chargers are cursed, but I am attempting some voodoo magic I am putting the defraud curse on the Chargers to cancel out the Charger curse so that it opens the gate for them to make the playoffs. So Terry, Nicole, you're welcome for that.
You better hope it works like that, because you just double curse the Chargers into oblivion.
They go like 3-14.
They go 0-17. Staley's out. Herbert traded.
They trade away Justin Herbert. Yeah.
Terry, Nicole, the rebuild.
I tried my best. If I double jinx the Chargers, my apologies, but I had to pull out all the stops to help you guys. This clip will be played back when they're like in the Super Bowl, and I'm like, I did it. I successfully canceled the Charger curse.
Yeah. Second seed, I have, or second seed in the AFC, first seed in the AFC West. Chiefs, what else do you expect? 14-3. They got Joe Tooney, love it. Orlando Brown, love it.
Kyle Long, don't forget, that's also underrated.
Long, love it. Didn't they get a new center? I can't remember.
Yeah, they got Oklahoma. What's his name?
Creed Humphrey.
Yes. The guy we wanted, but whatever.
Well, looking back on it, he's not a huge improvement over Posick, but he's a huge improvement over whoever the hell they had in 11 Mahomes to get hit like 40 times in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but you got him 14-3.
Yeah, I love the weapons. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is solid. Defense is good. You can't really say much about it. Chiefs are expected to be.
You had him at 14-3.
14-3.
I have him at 16-1. I think they're going to go absolutely ballistic this year.
Whoa.
Mahomes, they went 14-2 last year. They didn't play Week 17. They went 14-1 last year. Well, you know what I mean, right?
Well, one of the losses that I had was the last week because I don't think they're going to play.
Right. Okay. So, yeah, I wasn't even thinking about that. So probably 15-2 is probably fair. Again, I think they're going to be the best team in the AFC. The one weakness they had last year was their offensive line, and they got arguably one of the best tackles in football. They got one of the best guards in football. They got Kyle Long, who is a steal. They got Joe Thuney. They got Creed Humphrey at center.
Yep.
What can I say? This team is just
Good.
unreal. This is
Just
a
good
Madden.
across
This
the
is a
board.
Madden fantasy team. Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce,
And
Patrick
they also got a
Mahomes.
steal in Nick Bolton in the 3rd round
Yes.
from Mizzou. I love
Yes.
him. I thought he was like a 1st-round pick talent. They got him like 3rd.
The only issue
Good for
that
them.
arises with the Chiefs is 2 things. Number 1, their linebackers, because I don't love their linebackers still.
Yeah, I guess.
Number 2 is Frank Clark. I know he's having some legal trouble. I doubt that
I think he'll be fine.
I doubt that he'll miss significant time, but
I doubt that he'll get charged.
yeah,
He'll
I
probably just
doubt
have
it.
to pay like a fine or something.
Also, Snead was very, very good last year. So I think the Chiefs are going to be really, really good this year. And yeah, I don't think many people would disagree with me. So
Yeah.
we're kind of ready to get into our playoff.
Let's move on to the
Quinones.
playoffs. I'm excited to talk about this. Wild card round. My first game is Ravens Bills. Ravens being the 5 seed, Bills being the 4 seed, and I have the Bills taking that one.
Wow. Okay.
So let's run through. So let me run through my whole wild card round, and then you can run through your whole wild card round, and we'll kind of compare and contrast. Then I had 6 seed Chargers taking on the 3 seed Colts. I like the Colts there. I think Justin Herbert's eyes might be a little too big for the moment. A lot of young first year or like second year young quarterbacks have trouble in the playoffs in their first appearance. It's common. I think it's just another development for Herbert.
I agree with that. I just don't like the Colts, but I agree with what you're saying on the Chargers, and that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and Titans versus Chiefs. I think Chiefs obliterate the Titans. I don't think it's going to be
not even a game
really that close because their defense is just god awful. For the NFC, I have Seahawks versus Washington. This is the one game where I had the low seed winning. Not biased. I think that this is a good matchup for the Seahawks. I think our offenses go far more in the Seahawks' favor. And I think that defense, obviously Washington's better, but I don't like their secondary compared to our receivers. So kind of what I got right now. And okay, so 6 seed Saints, 3 seed Packers, 3 seed Packers because Saints are a warm weather dome team going to a absolute freezer.
Lambeau is different in the playoffs, man. Lambeau is a beast in the playoffs, 100%.
And 7 seed 49ers taking on 2 seed Rams. I have 2 seed Rams. And Mike, what do you have?
So in my AFC wildcard, I have the 5 seed Browns taking on the 4 seed Titans. I think this is a matchup nightmare for Tennessee. Cleveland obliterated them last year, and I think they're going to run for just about 500 yards on the Titans. I'll take the Browns in a pretty decent margin of victory. Then I have the 7 seed Chargers going against the 2 seed Ravens. Very similar to what you said. I think the Chargers are an up-and-coming team, but they're not there yet. They run into the powerhouse Baltimore Ravens, and I think the Ravens are better in just about every aspect, so I'll take the Ravens in that one. Then I have the 6 seed Bills going up against the 3 seed Dolphins. Again, I think Tua Tagovailoa just steps up in a big moment, and I'll take the Dolphins to beat the Bills in that instance. I could feel you death staring me right now. Then I have the 7 seed 49ers going against the 2 seed Buccaneers. I will take the Buccaneers in that one. Obviously, I think the Buccaneers are very, very good. Then I have the 5 seed Seattle Seahawks going up against the 4 seed Dallas Cowboys. I will take the Seattle Seahawks in that one. Then I have the 6 seed Green Bay Packers going up against the 3 seed Bears. As biased as I want to be, I am not going to take the Bears in a playoff game against Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is kind of our daddy, and I hate to say it, but that's what's going to happen. So teams moving on. Browns, Ravens, Dolphins, Buccaneers, Seahawks, and Packers for me.
Yep. Fair. Moving on to the divisional round. I have Colts, 3 seed Colts going to Kansas City. Crowd's going to be roaring. I think Carson Wentz isn't going to know what to do. It's been a little while since he's been in the playoffs away. So
he really hasn't been in the playoffs because he missed 2017 and then 2019.
He played one game in Philly.
Right, a quarter. Because
he played not even a quarter, maybe 5 minutes.
Right. I don't really think he's really even played in the playoffs.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I have there. And 4 seed Bills taking on 1 seed Browns. Browns are nice and rested. gotten a nice nap before the game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking Browns. I think the Cleveland fans are going to lose it in their first home game in probably 30
The city
years,
is going to erupt. The city
maybe
will
even
absolutely erupt.
40 years. I don't know how long it's been since they've had a
Just
home
Otto
playoff game.
Graham was the last Browns. Yeah, the
Yeah,
last
but
Browns home playoff game.
I think that the players are going to really feed off that energy. 3 seed Packers taking on the 2 seed Rams. Packers are going from a freezing cold Lambeau to a nice sunny LA. I like this for the Packers. I think they're going to be feeling loose, nice and warm. I think they're going to be feeling nice. I have the Packers beating the Rams in the divisional round. I think that Aaron Rodgers' experience in the playoffs, battling Matthew Stafford's inexperience in the playoffs, is going to really, really benefit them. I know Matthew Stafford's had like 2 or 3 playoff games, but I don't think he's never won any of them. So
Mm-hmm.
I think Aaron Rodgers' playoff experience is going to benefit them. And 5 seed Seahawks going to the 1 seed Buccaneers. I have the 1 seed Buccaneers because I just don't like how the Seahawks compare to the Buccaneers whatsoever. So
Okay. I actually don't totally disagree, but to get to my division round, I have the 1 seed Chiefs going against the 5 seed Browns. Cleveland, I love you, but it's the Chiefs. I think there's enough said there. They beat you with Matt Moore last year, so can't really say much there. Then we have the 2 seed Ravens going against the 3 seed Dolphins. Now, obviously, I've loved Tua and I've been sticking up for him the whole time, but I can't deny I think the Baltimore Ravens are just a much better team. And I think the weakness of the Dolphins, which is the pass rush and which is, the kind of the front seven, I would say, that's really going to have a hard time against the Ravens. Lamar, JK, they're going to run the ball down their throats. And obviously, Tua hasn't had that playoff experience just yet. So I think the Ravens move on. Then we got the 2 seed Buccaneers going against the 5 seed Seattle Seahawks. I'm going to take the Seahawks. Maybe I'm a little biased here, but I do think that the Seahawks squeak it out. I think that, we're just a team that plays well in big moments. And I don't know, I think the Buccaneers kind of run out of gas a little bit. I'm not saying Brady's going to fall off a cliff, but I'm saying maybe he's not able to do as much as he did because obviously, all of the Buccaneers playoff games, the wild card round against Washington, the divisional, the NFC Championship game against Green Bay, they were all close games. I think Seattle does really well in close games, and I think they'll just end it. And then we have the 6 seed Packers going against the 1 seed Rams. I am predicting a Packers upset here for a couple of reasons. Number one, I don't think I don't think the Rams like the matchup that Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams present. And another thing is the Packers are very used to going against Matthew Stafford. They'll have a lot of film on him, and Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs. I really like it, so I'm gonna take the Packers to move on over the Los Angeles Rams.
yep, yep. So kind of similar. Besides the Bucks, I'm really shocked to get the Seahawks beating the Bucks. But hey, I'm not gonna complain. If you know what
I'm
I'm
not
saying.
complaining. Yeah.
All right, now the championship. Browns, Chiefs, visiting the Browns. The Browns are feeling it, man.
They
They're
woke up feeling dangerous.
they're feeling the energy from that stadium. It's coursing in their veins. I think that the Browns' defensive line is really menacing to Mahomes, and I think that their secondary is pretty good as well. I'm taking the Browns to go to
Whoa.
the chip,
Whoa.
baby. Once
Cleveland.
again, it will not be a blowout, but Cleveland almost beat the Chiefs last year.
Mhm.
They've gotten better. I'm liking Cleveland this time around. And
Kareem Hunt revenge game? Question mark.
yeah, Packers visiting the Bucks. I think that the Bucks are just gonna. I think that the Bucks are just that good. I think that they're just that good. I have them beating the Packers and going to their second straight Super Bowl. So Bucks Browns. It's a great underdog story for 2 teams that really do not have fantastic histories of football. I think it's nice for it to not be like, oh yeah, it's Giants Patriots.
Woo. Yeah.
You know?
So I have the Chiefs and the Ravens in the AFC Championship game. Now, I have the Ravens winning, and the reason being is
Ooh.
because Lamar, he's been in Mahomes' shadow this whole time. That he can't beat Mahomes. He can't beat Mahomes. I think the Ravens just unlock another level. They go ballistic on the Chiefs. I think on paper they actually match up pretty well. Chiefs have really good wide receivers. The Ravens got really good defensive backs. The Chiefs got good, pretty good defensive backs. I think with the improved wide receivers of the Ravens, I don't know. I think it's a close game. I think Lamar makes some I don't think they're able to touch Lamar really. I think he makes some spectacular plays, and he gets them to their first Super Bowl since 2012. And then for the NFC Championship game, I have the Buccaneers and I have the Seahawks. And you know what? I'm going all in. I have the Seahawks winning. I know. Call me a homer. I got it. But I think you can't deny that. I think the Buccaneers and I think the Seahawks match up well against the Buccaneers because I don't really trust their DBs. We've got some really good wide receivers. The problem is the Buccaneers pass rush. It's going to be a pain in the ass for the Seahawks. So I don't know. Maybe I'll take the Seahawks and I'll die on that hill, I guess.
Yep. So we're going into the Super Bowl. I've talked about how hot the Browns are. Can the Browns win their first Super Bowl ever? Or will it be it's literally the complete opposite between both these teams? The Browns can win their first chip ever, and the Bucks can repeat. I have the Bucks repeating. I think that the Bucks are just that good of a team. Man, when everything's clicking for them, they're gonna be one of the hardest teams to stop, if not the hardest team to stop in the NFL. I think Baker gets a little overwhelmed by all the spectacle and the Super Bowl media and all that goodness. So that's what I have. I have Bucks winning the Super Bowl back-to-back years.
Yeah, I would take the Bucks in that instance also. So now we got the Super Bowl, Ravens, Seahawks. I got the Ravens winning.
That'd be a heartbreak. I would cry.
It's gonna suck. And I'm probably the only fan that ever predicts his team to lose the Super Bowl before the season even starts. I just think that the Ravens are really, really good. I don't think we have the pass rush to touch Lamar Jackson, unfortunately. I think their defensive backs could really do a number on our wide receivers. And I don't know. I just really think, if you think about it, I mean, the last time these two teams won the Super Bowl, 2012, 2013. So I think the Ravens are just really good, and I have them beating the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. That's my prediction, unfortunately. I think the MVP goes to J.K. Dobbins. I think he runs all over the Seahawks. And yeah, that's what I have.
All right, so that's it. Mike, if you see there, you can go to draft order, and the draft order that it would be with your projections.
Mm-hmm.
I have my top 10 would be Lions 1, Raiders 2.
Mm-hmm.
So my draft order is Lions 1, Raiders 2, Bengals 3, Jets 4, Texans 5, Eagles 6, Bears 7, Falcons 8, Jaguars 9, Carolina 10. Everything else kind of falls into place. That's my draft order. So Lions fans rejoice. You can pick Spencer Rattler.
Or De'Aaron King.
Or Sam Howell.
Or you can pick.
Who's that Liberty quarterback?
Malik Willis? That's what I was thinking. Yeah, Malik Willis. He's good. He's really good.
He's a stud, yeah.
So, that's our predictions. And let us know what you guys think.
Yeah, drop your thoughts in the comments below. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace out.